Today we're going to be talking about humidity, the silent killer of your guitars. Hey guys, Scott and Taylor here at Evan Music. Today we're going to be talking about humidity.
A very important topic.
It really is, and we're coming into the warmer part of the year. Here in Oklahoma, at least, we don't have as many problems going into the warmer months. But year-round monitoring is very important.
So humidity is one of those things that so many people forget about. They think it's something they don't need to worry about. And for the most part, during this, like he was saying, during the summers, I mean, we maintain a good steady humidity level. But during the winter, when the heater kicks in and starts to dry out the air gets super, super dry, and our skin gets itchy, and our guitars and our pianos and all these wood instruments are all susceptible to damage if you're not careful.
First of all, what's ideal? Ideal is if you can maintain 45 to 50% relative humidity year-round. That's amazing. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can humidify your entire home. You can humidify one room. You can humidify one case. And we're going to be talking about different methods of like how to keep your guitars where they need to be depending on where you're keeping your guitars.
Ideally, most of us, and the store included, we can't keep all our guitars in cases. We want them out where everybody can see them. And at home, I want to leave my guitars out where I can see them. I'm more apt to play them if I don't have to dig them out of a case. But if you have one in a case, that's the best way you're maintaining a small, tight space to maintain what that humidity level is.
So there's a couple companies that produce products to maintain. This is an example of a pack. This is a Diodario Humidipack. There's a company called Boveda that developed them, and they make them for Diodario actually. But what this is this is for case storage too. So what we're talking about is if you're keeping your guitar in the case. But you have this little saddlebag looking thing here, and there's two little squishy packs inside. And they have a polymer inside that is two-way acting. So it'll release moisture in the winter, and it'll suck moisture in the summer.
So yeah, if you're in a desert climate, if you live in Arizona or something like that that's really dry, these are great year-round because it'll actually put that moisture back out, and it knows where it needs to give or take. So we don't have that as much of that we need it during the summer, but we do need it during the winter. It's just it's a great universal package.
So first of all, why do we need to do this? That's a good point. We talked about this topic because we had a guitar, and we try our best to maintain humidity in this store.
We have a massive in-store system. We've got all these beautiful Steinways and Kawais here, plus we've got all these wonderful custom shop acoustic instruments, and we battle it like crazy. So, but unfortunately, because we have a large storefront with big double doors that open up to a very busy thoroughfare, we're going to be fighting it constantly during this time of year.
Different woods are more susceptible to, I will say that. This is a casualty that we just had. This is a custom shop Martin that we built out. It's an OM28 style. And it has wild green East Indian rosewood back and sides.
It's been my experience that the more figured back and side woods are, typically the more susceptible they are to these changes because they don't want to budge. And if you force them to expand or contract, it's going to give in a weird way. So
yeah, this wild green wood is cut off the quarter, and that's how you get this beautiful figuring. But it makes it a little less stable. And we have this. I don't know if you guys can see that from there. We'll do a close up too. But we've got probably a 2.5 inch long, 3 inch long crack that is formed here. So what we did to fix this problem afterwards, and nobody wants this to happen at all. But we've had this in the case for the past week with humidification products to get the wood to close back up. And this one is just about closed back up, and we're going to fix the repair the.
When we first discovered it, you could almost see daylight through it, so there was actually a gap. But having that sit in the case and soak back up that moisture, or take a drink, I like to call it taking a drink, it's kind of swelled back up and kind of closed back up.
So for this particular use, just to let you guys know how we fix this, there's the great videos on YouTube as well. Taylor Guitars did one years ago where Bob Taylor was talking about fixing a dried out guitar. We did a similar method. So we did the two-way acting humidipacks, and then we have two damp it sponges here. These you just damp it. wring it out nice and good, and stick it in the sound hole, and it really releases a lot of moisture to get your guitar kind of, we say puffed back up.
It's a process you want to go slow, slow and steady with. I've heard people say, well, just put it in a bathroom with a shower running. That's a horrible way. That's too much humidity, too fast. It's a good way to go the opposite way and destroy the guitar because you've added too much heat and humidity. So you've got to go slow and steady with it.
So, preventative care is key so that stuff like this doesn't happen. So if you're going to keep your guitars out like we do, get yourself a humidification system, either for the whole house or for the room, but you want to monitor it and see where you're at. That's the thing.
So we have these all over the store, these hygrometers, digital hygrometers. They'll constantly tell you kind of what you need to look for. Right now we're at 44%, which is ideal. We are dumping water in every guitar room we have in the store, and we have a whole store humidifier that we're dumping gallons and gallons this time of year to try to keep up with it.
I really recommend something like this because a lot of people just think that they can just stick the humidifiers in the cases and they're good. Well, they may not realize that the environment they're putting it in is single digits humidity in the winter, and so it's not going to be enough. So knowing where your baseline is very important.
I'm going to go ahead and write ourselves out here. There's a min max button on here. This will tell you the highest to spin and the lowest to spin. So just to kind of rat us out to see, we don't always have it ideal. Let's see if it's going to work. We've had as high as 57% and as low as 27%. 27 is brutal. So when we had that cold snap a few weeks ago, when it was 9 degrees outside, wind chill of
I think he had negative 25.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
It was a battle. I mean, we were literally dumping. 2 or 3 times a day we were filling those humidity gauges, and still that's all we were getting to. But that's brutal on these guitars. It really is. But you've got to be willing to fight the battle, fight the good fight.
Yeah. So especially with all of your instruments, you don't want to suffer any damage, and you'll notice it. You'll start feeling the frets pop out a little bit.
Sprout.
You get some prickly frets on the end here. You know that things are shrinking. Your tops on acoustic guitars, a lot of times you'll see it there first. If you just run your fingers along a dried out spruce top, it'll feel like a pair of corduroy pants because you can feel that grain line because the wood has shrunk so much. Belling in the bridge. What are other symptoms of dry guitars that you want to look out for?
If you pick up a guitar and it's sharp, or if it's flat, if it's gone way out of tune from what you last picked up, that body expanding or contracting is going to cause those strings to go out of tune. So if you're like, I know I had that tuned and this is totally different than when I left it, it's a good sign that you've got some humidity issues going on.
For sure. It's very important, guys. We can't stress it enough, especially if you are investing a lot in high-end boutique guitars as well. Last thing you want is to develop a crack like this, or just have it be uncomfortable to play. So no matter where you're keeping your guitar, whether it's in the case, in a room, take precautions. And it's pretty easy to maintain once you get into the habit of it, but it's definitely worth doing.
Yep, because the last thing you want to do is be susceptible to the silent killer.